care about their people. Next thing, rarely are these things lifetimes worth of connection. So I think and you're like, well, let's just wait and see. Now there's no safe space for the unhinged reactions, or there's no safe space for the knee-jerk reactions. Now we react in the place we read it, which is usually online and social media. So we react in the comments, or we post our own thing in reaction, and then everybody's reacting to the reactions, and we kind of forgot what actually happened, and we're all sort of fighting about the reactions and what people think. And so that I believe that if every single social media had a 1 minute delay, like you hit post and then there's a little clock that says 60, 59, 40, 58, and there was just a 1 minute delay on every post, I bet half the stuff we post wouldn't go up. We'd be like, maybe I won't put that. But once you put it out there and people start reacting to your actions, then we become super defensive. Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it?
It is.
We don't trust anymore.
Yeah.
But when we hear something that triggers us, we don't investigate what's actually happening. We just react to it. If I said something to you that triggered you, you would have an opinion. You would not be curious. It's instantaneous. Curiosity requires us to investigate legitimately, not just find things that reinforce our points of view. So judgment is fun. Judgment is easy. Judgment is entertaining. Judgment is emotional, which makes it exciting. You know, curiosity is it's a slower burn. You know, so I read things in the news that the government's doing this or the government's doing that, and I can feel myself having an opinion to the headline.
Yeah.
And then I always say, well, why don't you go find out what the origins of this are, or what will happen, or what won't happen? And I'm looking in places that aren't political. So I'm not just looking at what politicians or social media commentators are saying. I'm going and reading articles, and I'm going and looking at historical documents. And by the way, this takes minutes, not hours, right? And instantly I'm like, it's not that bad, you know? Or, ooh, I think that's worse than people think, you know?
Why do you think people are not even investing 2 minutes, 3 minutes? They don't.
Because we treat the news, we treat social. First of all, Instagram and TikTok are the primary sources of news today. Okay, that's number one.
Yeah.
Okay. And because we treat the news like we treat a dating app, it's like you look, you swipe right, you swipe left, on to the next. And so you read a headline, you either comment, you don't, you form an opinion, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. I mean, it's newsertainment, right?
Yes. Who do you think, whose fault is this?
It's ours. Everybody's to blame.
Not the algorithms, not the platforms, not these companies who have.
Of course, they bear liability. And if one of them, if I hear another one of them say, "Well, buyer beware," you know, they can always not use us. That's like telling an addict who's like, "Well, you have the choice not to be a drinker or a smoker. You can just stop." You'd be like, not really, no. Especially when you have teams of scientists figuring out how to hijack our dopamine system to keep us online for longer. You know, infinite scroll and all the rest of it. Of course, they bear responsibility. You know, you can't remove them from the chain of events. Now, do they bear all the responsibility? Of course not. But of course, they bear responsibility.
So, what do we do now? Like, how do we bring it back? How do we bring this world where we used to trust each other more? We used to trust people more. We used to trust news more.
Yeah, well, change starts at home, right? It's all fine and good to complain about companies and complain about the system or complain about the government, but if we want to see and feel change in our lives, then we have to be the agents of change. And so if you want to feel trusted and trust more, then start with your friends, start at home, start at work, learn to be a trusted person. Our world is somewhat of a reflection of us.
So you said learn to become trusted first.
Yeah.
How can somebody do that? What are the ingredients of trust?
So I think very often we confuse trust and reliability. Simply doing what you say is a component, but we've all have friends that we trust that let us down, and sometimes we let other people down. Does that mean all trust is violated? No. Could be a step back, but it's not a complete breakdown. Trust comes from psychological safety. It's the feeling we get when we feel that someone has our back. You know, none of us walk around with a notebook in our back pocket keeping track of all the things our friends do for us and how many things we do for our friends. You know, uh, uh, I may do 100 things for my friends and my friends do nothing for me, but I never say, well, you owe me because this month, look at all the things I did for you and you didn't do anything for me. Because I walk around with the absolute confidence that if and when I need them, I know without a doubt they'll be there for me. And so I think that psychological safety that's built up over time, and sometimes it happens quickly and sometimes it happens slowly, but it's a dance, right? You start with a little bit and you ask a little more. And like, I have friends that are just for fun. My friends, they're just fun. Do I rely on them? Do I know they'd be there for me? No, but I love spending time with them. And then I have friends that I know that I could call, and no matter what time of day or night, they'll be there for me. And so I think it's hard to trust when you are not trusted. I think very often we forget. It's like if I were to go to a party and sit in the corner by myself like this with a scowl on my face and say, people are the worst. No, people are so unfriendly. Not one person has come over here and said hello to me and even expressed any curiosity about me or my life. I hate this place and I hate everybody here. I'm like it starts with you sitting in the corner by yourself with your arms folded looking grumpy. It takes two. And so to put yourself out there, to be a trusted person, and remember, we don't build trust by offering help. We build trust by asking for it. And the ability to ask for help and make yourself available to say, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm unsure, and give someone else the honor of getting to be there for you, that's where it starts. It starts by us taking the first step. By the way, that's what leadership is. We call you a leader not because you have rank. We call you a leader because you went first. You're the first to take the risk. You're the first to run towards danger. You're the first to admit you don't know something or made a mistake. You set the tone. That's what leader means. And so if you want to lead the way to building trust, then you have to start by asking for help.
There are friends who you trust, even though you don't talk to them very often.
Yes.
But you know that you can rely on them.
100%.
Right? And there are people who you just go out to have fun.
Yeah.
Right? And necessarily, not both of them must have offered you help up front. But still, you trust few people and you don't.
Again, offered versus asked.
So
everybody goes like, let me know if you need any help. Like everybody says
exactly
that, right? But how many friends call you and say, I'm stuck? And I don't mean a favor. Like, I'm not talking like, hey, can you put me in your podcast? I'm not talking about, that's not asking for help. I'm talking about like, hey, I don't know what to do and I don't know who else to call.
So are you saying that people who you can trust, they're the only, like they've always asked you first? And that's
no, it's one of the ways in which you build trust. You could go first, and you give them the honor of being there for you. So it doesn't matter who starts, but the relationship has to start somewhere.
Then what's the difference between people who you can versus who you can't trust? Because they both are friends.
Some of it's based on timing. Some of it's based on what you're going through, what they're going through. Some of it's based on values. Some of it's based on how much sleep you got the night before. I mean, like, I don't have a formula. I can tell you some of the things that would help. Like I can tell you some of the things that would help to have a successful relationship. But at the end of the day, there's certain intangibles that some people you just click with and some people you don't. So, I mean, if I'd figured this out, I think we forget this, which is human beings are messy. And human beings are emotional. And human beings are irrational. And so I think we overcomplicate what it means to be human when we ask for scientific, rational, highly structured checklists in order to achieve an emotional goal. Like trust or love or any of these feelings. Like, again, I can tell you some best practices. I can tell you some things that will probably contribute. But I also have friends where a lot of those things flew out the window and we love each other and trust each other. So, again, I can tell you some of the things that would help, but we can't apply too much structure to an emotional, irrational, messy situation. That's part of the magic and annoying things about people.
There are a lot of times where you deal with a messy person and that person breaks your trust. So like a lot of people I've heard, and they say it often, that they instantly go in that mode where now they're trusting no one. What do you think is worse? Is trusting a wrong person worse, or trusting nobody for life?
We know the answer to that one. Of course, trusting no one is the wrong answer. Okay, you got burned, but if you build a wall around you because you were afraid of being hurt, it's like people who say, I'm not going to fall in love ever again because I got hurt that one time. It's like, well, then you're going to live a lonely life and an unhappy life. Like, yes, everyone has had trust violated. Every one of us has violated trust. We've also been we've been